Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Hang Out with Coach Kerry. That is me. And you are watching this either on Google Hangouts, YouTube, or as a recording on my website, hangoutwithcoachkerry.com. I really appreciate your time today, and I want to make it really valuable for you. So today is what I call a viewer's Q&A episode. And again, if you ever have any questions for me, don't hesitate to send them off to me. It's a great way for you to get your coaching issues or get some business issues handled by me. So I suspect that you are an entrepreneur, maybe a solo entrepreneur. You might even be building your business off your kitchen table, your guest bedroom. You might have a desk in there. You may have an office, but chances are you're in that stage where you're really working a lot on your own, and you're looking for tips and strategies on how to be successful, how to get more clients, how to know where to put your marketing efforts, how to actually make enough money so at the end of the month you're not worried about paying bills and you've got enough money so you can live as well. Well, then if that's the case, then you are in the right place. This is the place where you get lots of tips and strategies from a seasoned business coach like me. In fact, I've been coaching now for almost 18 years. And so I've seen it all. I've heard it all. Probably any questions you have, I've heard before. So today I've got a distinguished panel of experts here in their own fields who are my VIPs, and I would like them to introduce themselves to you. So Bonnie, why don't we start with you first?
Thank you, Carrie. I'm Bonnie Mitchell, and I own a boutique graphic design company called Mitchell Creative. And what I do is I help businesses all over the world increase their sales and revenue by creating effective marketing material that support their brand message, and their brand's image. And as I like to say to people, your company's brand appeal is a big deal. So I ensure consistency across all of those material to create a quickly recognizable brand that attracts the correct target audience.
Great, excellent. And how can they reach you, Bonnie, if they want to find out more about what you do? Because you can help people anywhere.
Yes, absolutely. So I can be found at bonniemitchell.ca.
Great, excellent, good. All right, and Dr. Diana, tell us about you.
Thank you, Carrie. I'm Dr. Diana Galbraith. I have a company, First Get Healthy. I'm a former family physician, and what I do now is I work with women who have invested so much time and energy into their business, into their home, into whatever in their lives, often at the expense of their own health. And what I do is I really help women come to grips with that and come up with a plan that fits into their lifestyle. So if they're a busy homemaker, if they're a busy entrepreneur, it's making it doable and realistic for them, and also long-lasting changes that will last. So, but what I'm going to offer today is for anyone who hasn't, I do have a free newsletter to sign up for on my website, which is 1stgethealthy.com, firstgethealthy.com.
Great, thank you. And what our audience maybe doesn't know, because Diana's a regular panelist with us, she's a mother of 7. So she knows what it's like to actually, have a focus on family and maybe not on ourselves. So that's the place where she comes from with the work that she does. So thank you. Thank you. Grace, tell us about you.
Good morning, Carrie. Thanks for having me on. So I'm Grace Gary. I'm a counsellor here in Victoria, although I work with people elsewhere. And I help people who run into a roadblock in life and they want some help to get past it. So I help them get past it so they can meet their goals. I have a special interest in emotional eating and weight loss, and I have a 4-week course coming up starting on the 6th of April, and it's online. So you can reach me at gracefulsolutions.ca.
Great, excellent. Yes, so in fact, my 3 panelists can deal with people no matter where they are, and that's a great strategy in terms of expanding your reach. If you have a product or service that can support people in other places, and you have a platform to be able to reach them, why not share your expertise across those across North America? Well, really anywhere, depending on what language you speak. So, okay, let's get into the meat of today. I'm excited because the questions always sort of challenge me to pull out of the resources of what I know and answer the question. So Bonnie, why don't we start with you? What's your first question for me?
So my first question for you, Carrie, is, well, first of all, I know that you've devoted a few episodes on strategy and strategic planning, and they have been great. But what I find for myself is we all have good and bad days, and I'm wondering, how do I stay inspired and motivated with my strategic plan?
Great question, because don't we all, there's a moment where we get excited about something, where we're kind of in the flow, we're focused, and then another day when we can get easily distracted, or we just aren't as motivated to do whatever it is. So a couple of things. First of all, big picture, it's always great to have someone that's holding you accountable. So whether that's a coach, whether that's a business partner, my experience has been friends and family aren't very good people to hold us accountable, because we can, they don't want to be too tough on us. They don't want to kick our butt, so to speak, as has to happen sometimes. So you really need somebody whose vested interest is only in supporting you and being successful. So of course, I'm a huge advocate for coaching. That's why I believe accountability is one of the key pieces. As I say, it's clarity. What do you need to be working on? Strategy. So what are the actual steps you're going to take? And then accountability keeps your feet to the fire. So that's the first thing, is having someone that has that you've made a commitment to, that there's certain things that have to be done by certain dates. So that's step number one. Step number two is really making sure in the very first place, is what you said you wanted to do really what you want to do, so that it's not a I should, or I need to, or I committed to this, but maybe I'm not as inspired about it anymore. Because I guarantee you that if you aren't really committed to doing something, there's going to be lots of days when you're going to find a struggle. So it has to be something that you really are clear, that you are, you're really focused on it, and you understand the why underneath it. Why you're doing it, what's going to be the long-term benefit, and you're really focused on that why. Because that's what's going to, push you through those no's, those obstacles, those challenges that every business has, that are going to come, that are going to get in the way. So you really have to be clear on what it is, and is it something you want? And then the third thing is, of course, why. Why is it for you? What are those real reasons? And are you moving towards something, or are you moving away from something? In other words, if you're moving away from bills, anything that's kind of a negative, it's going to pull you back, and you're going to continue to get more of that, because you're really focusing on what you don't want versus what you do want. And following the law of attraction principles, you want to focus on what you do want, not what you don't want. So what do you want? What do you want? You want to be continually focusing on that and being really clear that you're in alignment with that. So, and that it's something that's pushing you, that it's actually moving you forward. It's actually pulling you in that direction, like an elastic band that's taut, and it's going to continue to pull you forward all the way. So, check in with those things to make sure those are the components. And then practical kind of boots on the ground, day-to-day stuff, you have to have a way to keep it front and center with you every single day. So whether that's your end-of-day review, which for those of you who've been watching my episodes, you know that I'm a huge fan of taking a look at what you did accomplish that particular day and then moving that forward into the next day or the next day. So you're always kind of bringing it forward so that you're clear on this particular project, that you're moving it forward the next day. Or you're doing it first thing that morning, that morning before you really get into doing anything else. You're saying, okay, what are those things that I need to be doing today? And I'm a real proponent of saying, what's the one thing I can do today to move this project forward? What's the one thing I can do today to move this project forward? So you're always really clear that you're taking one step forward. I find that motivation tends to lack when we haven't had some forward movement in a while. Action likes action. So if you're continuing to take action in a direction, you're going to continually to be inspired, because you're going to start to see some things changing, some activity happening, some results maybe. So you want to always be clear on what's that next step I have to take, and you're always taking one every single day, and that'll help you. I also think it's really good to have visual reminders. because it's so easy in the day-to-day, especially as a solo entrepreneur and service provider. You're getting pulled out from many different directions. So having a reminder there that's saying to you, this is what my focus is. This is what my focus is. Rather than getting caught down in the minutia of the day, this is the big picture. This is why I'm doing everything in the first place. So having some visual reminders to continually help you focus on what it is you're doing. So, and then, you even some other little things is that, every project, no matter how committed you are to it and really clear on the why that it is, there's going to be some components of it that you might think are maybe don't come as naturally to you, that you may have to do some things that, there's a steep learning curve in it. So I always say set yourself up for success with that. So whatever it is, for me, sometimes I have to do what I call a state change. So I get up, I move around, I make myself a cup of tea in my favorite teacup. I might light a candle, I might put some good music on in the background. Whatever you need to do to move that one step forward, because again, I know that if I'm continually moving something forward, my psyche tells me, oh, this is possible, this can get done, and it continually kind of moves me forward in that direction. So, be careful of that little gremlin that sits on your shoulder and says to you, well, you're never going to be able to do this, or you're not going to get this done, or who do you think you are? Because it loves inactivity. It loves evidence to prove that it's right that you're going to stay stuck and that that project isn't going to get moved forward. So you need to kind of flick it off your shoulder and create the state change that's going to continue to move you forward. So, how was that for some help for you, Bonnie? Was that good?
That was excellent, Carrie. I've got a few new tools there that'll be good for me. Thank you.
Great, excellent. Okay, so on to Dr. Diana. Your question for me today.
Well, Carrie, I wanted to ask you about complimentary sessions because, they're very common and a lot of us use them. But way too often you meet with the clients and then they walk away and they're happy and you never hear from them again. So I kind of want your take on those.
Okay. Well, you're right. I think that especially if you're in the service provider industry where people, there's something that people can do to kind of sample what you do, there's a notion that somehow you're going to convert a person to being a client or a customer by giving them sort of a sample or a taste test, so to speak. But I actually think it's stealing of information. You have your expertise, you have your knowledge, you have your experience that it's taken years of education and everything else, and you're really giving it away for free on the chance that this person might actually become a client. And in fact, often when we give our sample sessions away, we give them away randomly. It isn't even somebody who's identified and said, I actually have a real interest in what you're doing. We do it, at whether it's silent auctions or raffles or that type of thing, that just really anybody. So how do we know that person is even interested? So I would rather encourage you to do something called strategy sessions, because I no longer do free or complimentary coaching sessions, because I too experienced exactly what you did, Diana. I'd give people a great session, they'd leave, afterwards they'd be telling other people, oh, it was a great session, but they never became a client of mine. And I only have two resources. I say this over and over again on my sessions, it's time and money. And if I'm spending my time giving away free sessions, then that isn't getting me what I need. Now, what I will say, there's a proviso here, is that every industry is different. And quite possibly there may be some industries where it does work. I'd rather you do, though, rather than a full-on blown session, you should do a little laser session. It's a little short little piece. It might be 10 minutes. So you might put that as an expense on your expense line in your budget, which is marketing, and so you put a value of your time in there. That's what you're going to do, so that it's really short, so you're not giving away the farm, so to speak. I prefer, though, that it's a strategy session. So here's some components of a strategy session. First of all, you want to uncover what their problem is. So you want to bring it right to the forefront for them so they're really aware of what their problem is. So they're getting clarity on that. You want to find out what action steps they've taken. Like, what have they tried to do to mitigate this problem in the past? How's it worked for them? Has it got any results for them? So really go down that road. What's it cost them by not having this problem fixed? You want to know this. You want to find out what is the problem. What does it really cost them emotionally, physically, financially, relationship-wise, whatever that happens to be. cost of lost opportunities in a business, all of those things. Then and if they don't deal with it, what's it going to continue to cost them? Really, really key question. So you want to ask them that question as well. How long has this been a problem for you? How long have you been aware that you wanted to make some changes or do something about this? So again, the value in this for the potential client or potential customer is you're having them really do some analysis that likely they never have been. So you're bringing it right to the forefront for them. So now the strategy in this is to take a look at what they've been doing, what they haven't been doing, what it's been costing them, and you really want to find out how motivated are they to do something about it. Because if they're not very motivated about it, then they're not going to become a client anyway. Oh, this is just a nice idea, nice information you're giving me, but they're not going to take any action and do anything about it. And let's face it, no one becomes a client unless they're willing to take some action. So that's a really key piece as well. So then the last thing I would say is that you actually want to know if they have a budget. And I love to ask this question in this way. I don't know if many of you are old enough to remember the show called Columbo, but there's probably someone in current television that they would actually kind of walk away and they come back and say, well, yeah, kind of ask that question. Well, in fact, what you want to say is, do you have a budget for this sort of thing? For dealing with this problem, do you have a budget? And let that sit for them for a minute. Sorry, I have a dry throat this morning. So then you've kind of worked that through all that direction. Then you come to a place where if they have a budget, then more likely they're going to become a client of yours. And then you talk about what options are available. So Diana, what's your feedback on that?
I thought that was good. You're not giving them all the answers. You're more, I guess what you're doing is you're raising more questions for them, which is going to lead them to maybe wanting to work with you. So yeah, no, that was very good, because I think as service providers, we're all too often wanting to solve problems and answer questions right off the bat, and because we want to help people. So, but we're just giving them kind of a band-aid fix and not getting to the root of the problem when we do that.
Absolutely, it doesn't serve them very well at all. I mean, really, they want to know what they want to really get clear on how important this problem is. And if it is a real problem, then they're going to be much more highly motivated to do something about it. And whether it's hiring you or whether it's some other solution, you can lay out those options for them, and then there's a greater chance that they're actually going to become a client of yours. So, great question, thank you. So, Grace, on to you. What's your question for me today?
Hi, Carrie. So my question is kind of twofold. I'm not sure which question it is. One is about when everything is calling to you to be done, and you're thinking, well, which thing should I put my attention to? And the second part of that is I spent a lot of this weekend clearing stuff, which felt very good, and it feels important, but it's kind of, then there were other things I didn't get done. And sometimes, I don't know whether it's, sometimes there's a reason, there's a season for something and a time for it. So it's kind of figuring out what's the priority, I guess, is ways to think about that, and where does making space to tidy and clear and organize fit into that? So it's kind of a biggish question, I guess.
Great. Well, great question, and I think you're not alone. I mean, we have, as solo entrepreneurs, we have so many opportunities coming at us, and it's the tyranny of the urgent that often gets us stuck. There's something that's urgent here, so we rush over and do that. So I'm going to pull you back for just a moment, and what I want you to do is take a bigger look at what are these reoccurring problems that keep occurring, or tasks that keep reoccurring, and is there something that you can do to put in place, a structure in place, so maybe they don't happen again? I mean, I'll really liken it to a practical solution. I have an 18-year-old son. He says to me, "Mom, when I get a different bed, I'll tidy up my room." Well, that's actually the wrong focus on it. No, it's the room needs to be tidy regardless of what the bed's like, because there'll always be another reason. There'll always be another excuse. So we want to take a look at, are there certain things? And some of it is if we were to look at that jar that I know we talked about in past episodes, where if you put your big rocks in, which are your big projects, then you put your pebbles in, then you put the sand in, and then you put the water in, you'll be able to, again, put quite a bit into a jar. And remember, the water are the things that are the least priority. then the sand is the next in least priority. In fact, I should probably put my hands the other direction on the rocks. The pebbles are next, and then the rocks are the highest priority. Well, if we put the water in first, and then we start putting sand in, and then pebbles and rocks, well, what happens is, of course, it's going to overflow. So that's the first thing, is to take a look at how many things are we trying to put into this particular vessel, which is called your time, and then identifying which are the top priorities. So that's, again, where when you create your strategy and your plan, you're really clear, this is my number one priority. So what that doesn't mean is, of course, there has to be time for clearing, clutter, and all of that. But you designate a certain time. I like to say, often Saturday mornings are a really good time to do that. Put on some good music, get in your office, do some tidying and clearing space, but then be asking yourself at the same time, do I have to repeat this clearing up all the time? And if I do, then what do I need to have in place so this doesn't reoccur over and over and over again? So that's a structure piece. What do I need to have in place so this thing doesn't happen to be repeating over and over again? That's taking away time and actually isn't leading to predictable income, because that's the most important thing. So it's also, Grace, we've talked about on a previous episode, it's about being able to discern at any given moment what is the most important thing to be working on. And that has to do with, which are those goals that you've set. It really relates to Bonnie's question about, creating that strategy, being clear that you've got some highest priorities and what are those. Then looking at, are you in the right environment to be able to work on that particular item, whatever it is? Do you have the technology? Do you have the computer? Do you have the phone? Do you have your documents? Whatever it is, do you have all that stuff? Then the next thing is energy. Is it the best time of day for you to be working on this at any given time? Or because sometimes we're best using our higher level thinking stuff first thing in the morning. That's why I say you don't check your emails first thing in the morning, because you want to be able to use that for your highest level stuff. And then the other stuff, those things that are the water or the sand, those get put when the other times when they are least important. And then at the end of the day, remember that productivity isn't about getting everything done. I'm going to say that again. Productivity isn't about getting everything done. It's about getting the right things done and being able to discern what are the right things and letting go of some of those things that will never get done. That you're just going to say, no, those aren't going to be. And then at a certain point, you may stop saying yes to doing some of those things, so they don't even end up showing up on your list of things that need to be done. So that's why I ask you to create an action list, which are things that are actionable to moving a project forward. And then you've got, you do have to have time for some admin, absolutely, and some cleanup. But if that's really a lot of your time, then you want to be asking yourself, well, what structures do I have to put in place so that I don't have as many of those things showing up? So, Grace, was that helpful for you?
Yes, Carrie. It made me. I think the structure is important, and the decisions ahead of time are important, because I think often the dilemma is: do I do the thing I want to do, or the thing I should be doing?
Yes. Yeah. And I'm not that fond of the word should.
Yeah,
because it feels like it's kind of like a in the back.
Yeah.
But again, it's really about, okay, I've identified that this is what I say I want to do. This is a program I want to launch. This is a course I want to offer. This is a marketing strategy I want to implement. So I said it. So why have I said I want to do this? How important is it to me? If it's really important, then I just need to do it. Not should do it, then I just need to do it. It's an action step, and just do it. So great question.
Thanks, Carrie.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I've got time for one more. So Bonnie, how about for you? You got one more question for me?
I do, Carrie. Sorry, took a second there with my mute. So my other question is, well, I've been a one-on-one coaching client with you for I think a couple years now, and it's been great. I love our sessions. I love the hangouts. I get so much information from you. And one thing that I run into is I do meet people that do need, I can see where they need the coaching, because I hear some of the same problems that they're having that I had. And I'm wondering what sort of options are available for those people, because what happens is sometimes we'll get talking and they'll feel like they don't have the resources or the budget to get coaching. So I'm wondering if there are any options available to them.
Great question. And yes, there's one-on-one coaching, of course, is ideal because that provides you the customized format and customized information just for where you are. Having said that, I have in the past, and I'm actually launching another small group coaching program. So with everyone's permission, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about it, and there'll be some more information coming out on Facebook, coming out on my website, and in Google Plus as well, so watch for the information. So it's a 6-person, so a small group, 6 people maximum. We will be using technology, so you can be anywhere in the world as long as you speak English. You can be anywhere. We'll be using a video format, so you'll be able to see each other. And everyone will have an opportunity to be on what's called the hot seat, or bring your coaching challenge question to the session. I will give you one-on-one direct coaching, deal with directly as if you were a one-on-one client of mine sitting in my office or using technology but just working together. But the advantage is you get a chance to hear how I answer other people's issues as well. So it's over a 3-month period. So I've designed this so that you can do them per quarter. And of course, it won't be the perfect quarter, but it's 3 months. And if you want to do a next 3 months, you could do another 3-month chunk. I think 90 days is a really good way for you to kind of test out what you think of the group coaching program. And so it's two sessions a month. So you have an opportunity to be able to have time in between to be able to do the homework, be able to work on it, and then come, and it's going to have that built-in accountability, Bonnie, that you and I talked about at the very beginning of this episode as well, how important it is to have accountability. So that, Bonnie, I would suggest that you share with those people as I have this upcoming, and I will be starting other groups as I have the demand. So this one for the month of March will be starting, and then as I get another 6 together, we'll start another one as well. So please tell them it's available, and the good news is it's going to be really affordable for people. So they'll be able to afford, be able to get that kind of one-on-one connection with me, one-on-one coaching, my expertise, at a fraction of the cost of what it would cost them to be working one-on-one with me. So please do go out and share that. So everyone, thank you, panelists, for this great episode today. Lots of great questions and very diverse, which is always love about the Q&A calls. They don't always have a consistent theme with them because there's always good stuff. And my panelists always ask great questions. They're savvy women in business, so the questions always reflect that as well. So again, Monday mornings, 9 a.m., you want to come and see me if you want some clarity on something in your business. You can get it here on my Hangouts. I want to be able to help you and support you with biz tips and strategies. Don't forget to go to my website, hangoutwithcoachkerry.com, and Kerry is spelled Kerry, and grab my book there, How to Get Out of Overwhelm and Accelerate Your Results Now, and that is free on my website, so go hop on over there and you can watch all of the other episodes as well. And this was episode 47. In just a few episodes, it's going to be my 1-year anniversary episode, and you want to make sure that you watch that live, because that show I'm going to be giving away some free stuff that you want to take advantage of, but only those people who show up live will be able to take advantage of that. So anyway, thank you again, my panelists. I really appreciate your time and your questions today, and we'll talk to everybody next Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific. Talk to you then. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you, Carrie.
Bye-bye.